Now, even as the government records some successes against crime in Nigeria, the threat from bandits and criminal gangs is growing by the day, with kidnappings and attacks occurring with increasing frequency. Just yesterday, another set of abducted victims were released after intermediary negotiations, with a dramatic plea from those who for more than 100 days have been living in the shadow of these criminal gangs. But if it's not monster bandits and rampaging gunmen, it's terror groups, insurgents and militants, including IS-affiliated organizations operating in the north. Virtually every day we're reminded that parts of this country have become actively unpoliced zones. In the midst of this, as we mentioned at the outset, the Nigerian security agencies have scored some successes. But how much of a difference is that making? Well, for more of this, I'm joined now in the studio by one of the few journalists who's been able to meet these bandits in their hideouts, Shuaibu Mungadi, presenter of a popular Hausa language program across northern Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us. And I mean, I have to say before we start that your program is so popular in northern Nigeria. You've got, at any given time, 30 million audience. I mean, that's extraordinary.
Yeah, sure. Because the program is the first of its kind. You know, this TVC have their journalist hangout program, and it is very popular with vast listeners and so on. It is also maybe a replica or a bit more expanded.
You mean your program?
Our program.
Right, and your program is called Idon Mikia.
Idon Mikia.
Well, what does that mean?
That is eagle eye.
Okay.
True to governance.
Right.
Yes.
So, well, I'm glad you had the time to talk to us. And I understand that all kinds of people listen and phone in, including bandits.
Yeah, they do, because the program is in Hausa. We strategically and deliberately decided to float it in Hausa to target Hausa audience that are not privileged to listen to Arise TV and more so we cannot compete. I mean, with major televisions, and we have lots to offer as journalists. And we thought we can just corner northern audience and do it in Hausa and deliver. We know the psychology of the listeners, and so we know what they needed. And so we deliver according to their needs, and that is why it is popular. Right,
but so given that, just outline for us how you see the threat that these bandits pose in Nigeria. Do you see it as radically increasing in recent times, as some suggest?
Yeah, radically increasing, of course, because, you know, it started with two groups. That is Boko Haram and petty criminals. Then it graduated to now about 5 groups. We have Boko Haram, we have ISWAP, which is also a portion of Boko Haram. We have Ansar. The Ansar are normally those that are found in Kogi, Nasarawa, and Niger states, and part of Kaduna state. Then we have these bandits. And then we have petty criminals, of course. So we now have 5 groups for the government and the society to contend with.
So why is this criminality, to use a general term, and specifically banditry, on the rise? I mean, what in your assessment are the factors that are driving this rise?
Several factors. One is the government, the handling. 2, it has become an enterprise. It was, you know, this banditry started as cattle wrestling. From cattle wrestling, kidnapping. From kidnapping to banditry. So now, you know, usually they kidnap one person, but now it's a mass kidnapping. It is devastating the entire town or area and so on. They even now enter major cities. In case of Katsina recently, you know, they are in the state capital, in Kaduna, in Abuja, and so on. So it is an enterprise, and it would be in the rise because there are some allegations that these bandits have the conspirators among the security agencies, among the populace, the communities. That is what gave rise to informants. And so you see with these collaborations, they feel more secured. And because they get information on every move by the government. They get information of whatever is the society doing against them. They hear, they listen, they have their eyes and ears. So that is why they are safer now. They take advantage of weaknesses from the government, weaknesses from the society, and so on.
That's absolutely extraordinary. And of course, you had, I don't know if I should say the privilege of actually meeting some of them.
Yes, I did. I met some of them. In fact, the most barbaric of them, I met them one-on-one, and I listened to them. They accommodated me. We took more than 10 hours together. I stay in the enclave. So I listened to them. I knew what they are.
How did that come about, though?
Well, actually, they listened to our programs. And you know, these bandits, as I told you, it's like an enterprise. They wanted people they can talk to. Sometimes they have messages that they want to deliver to either the government or the society. And they cannot deliver. The only channel they could do that is through journalists. And it would be very dangerous to appoint any middleman to say, go and talk to journalists on our behalf. So sometimes they will just find a safer way of inviting you and talking to you on phone, establish some trust and so on. And then eventually they must have been monitoring you without you knowing. And when they understand.
That's a bit scary.
Yeah, it was initially, but you know, this job, sometimes you just have to face
Take the plunge.
Yeah, yes.
And of course, as a journalist, you would have to protect your sources, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I do. Actually, they even told me what to say and what not to say. But they told me everything. Most of what they would not allow people to know. But then they limit, that is after first or second visit and so on, they limit you to what they want. Because I told you, when they have the message to deliver, and they want you to deliver, so they make you a friend, not just a trusted friend anyway.
And what kind of messages have they had you deliver?
Usually they are on side of police, usually their predicament, usually they are on purpose of embarking into what they are doing and so on. They want you to deliver to either the government or to the society what their mission is, that it is against their wish they are doing what they are doing. I mean, they are being pushed to do what they are doing. They will give you a narrative that will maybe convince you or not convince you, but they want you to deliver a portion of the message. So it's left to you now to weigh and see what you can deliver as a journalist professionally.
And are we clear on what the exact grievances of these bandits, terrorists and all the rest of them are? Or are they just common criminals who found a way to make easy, quick money?
Yeah, both. There are infiltration of common criminals. And there are, you know, bandits that it's not their wish to be there anyway. So it is a long story, but let me just summarize what it is. You know, to understand banditry in northern Nigeria, you need to also understand the socio-cultural life of a Fulani herdsman. They live and blend with society. They are, you know, you have to understand their way of coexistence. We have detachment of authorities in villages, like local judges, area court judges, like police outpost, like village heads and ward heads and so on. They so much extort the Fulani, capitalizing on their ignorance, because most of them have never been to school, so they live in the bush, they don't know anything. If a Fulani man did any little wrong, they will start extorting him, and until they finish his cow. And this is somebody who has no education, no house to stay, no trade, no nothing. He only depends on this cow to live, and you took away everything. So the next thing is he will just be a criminal. So some of them were made to be criminals. Some of them, due to some kind of barbaric actions by volunteers, security volunteers, they call Ansakai, the community police who volunteer to deal with cattle rustling and some criminality at that time. So they were so barbaric that they killed their people, they took away their cattle and burned down erased their settlement and so on. So they wanted to take revenge on what these people did to them. So they embark on kidnapping, because they understand that somebody kidnapped them and use a gun. A policeman will detain a Fulani man, and he is carrying a gun and tell you that you have to bring so amount before you release. So they understand the importance of guns. So they started carrying. And then, since they have nothing, no occupation, no cows, most of them graduated into full-time bandits. They started rustling their own cows, that is their own people. Since your own has finished and somebody has, so you rustle, so you can survive with a portion of yourself. So that's how they started, and then they graduated. And then some people from the civilization, from the cities, and some unscrupulous security agencies also took advantage. They found partners in this, and so the criminality grows. Most of them were arrested. They now have access to lawyers. They now know how to get away.
And of course, they've now got a lot of money.
A lot of money. And that is why it is very difficult to end now, because they have money. They are buying more weapons, and they are more emboldened now. So it is so very, very difficult. Most of them also have been on drugs for a long time, so they will never go back to their senses and leave crime.
Because I was going to ask you, how do they look after so many hostages that they take? But I guess, given what you're saying, they have enough money from the ransom payments to live reasonably large.
You see, they don't take care of these hostages in a comfortable way you are thinking. These hostages suffer a lot. They starve them.
But at least they can provide food for them, so they don't die from starvation.
Yes, they provide food. And they live in clusters. So when they kidnap, they separate the hostages. So that's why you would never find the hostages in one place, because they don't keep them in one place. They keep them far away from in clusters. So they also receive ransom, and sometimes they go and steal and so on, and then bring gari, bring raw rice, bring sometimes even fruit from the forest. Right. Yeah.
So what's the best way to fight this in as effective a way as possible?
There is no one way of fighting this bandit. There is no one way. Some of them are ready to abandon the trade, but many, that is majority, would not do it, because most of them are junkies right now. They have suppliers of hard drugs, and they are not ready. They will never be rehabilitated. They will never come back to their senses. So they will not do without this crime. The best way to go about those ones is to annihilate them. Some states, have taken many measures. In Zamfara, for example, the governor started with dialoguing, amnesty, and so on. So that is what happened in Katsina and so on. But it didn't work, because they are not one. They are, and each and everyone is a boss of himself. No one can influence the other in dropping the arms, except they can only influence themselves. That's when it comes to one is attacked and he need help, and then they come together. Like the one that was killed recently. He's like He's
You mean this Alhaji Shanono?
Shanono, yes.
Do you know of him?
I know
him.
I know him. I saw him. I met him. Shanono is is the one that is hiring bandits from outside the country.
So he was a vital part of the operation.
Yes, he is. Like that Abdul Karim Pacha also in Katsina, he was the mastermind of the attack on presidential district, and he was the one who killed the area commander of police in Duzima and so on. So even those who flog the train attackers were brought in by Shanono himself. It was not the train attacker.
Okay, you're talking about the Kaduna-Abuja train.
Yeah, Kaduna-Abuja train. Those who were shown in video,
yes,
flogging the victims, were hired.
They were given the flogging.
Yes, they were hired to do the flogging, and they were brought in by the Shanono that was just killed. His job is to hire and organize.
So his killing is a big success.
It's a big success, actually. But we still have a long way to go.
Well, I have to say, Shuaibu Mungadi, your presence here has been very, very enlightening. Thank you very much indeed for coming in to talk to us. And of course, Shuaibu Mungadi is the presenter of the popular Hausa language program across northern Nigeria and is one of the few journalists who have been able to meet bandits in their hideouts. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Elsie.